Have you ever looked at your life on paper and thought, this should be enough? Good salary, respect, security, yet you're sitting in your car crying because something inside feels dead. Today's guest did exactly that on a quiet summer morning in Canada. She walked away from what most people chase their whole lives and built something bigger, freer, and more aligned. But here's what I want to dig more today. She says everything starts with mindset, but I'm not totally sold. Are we over spiritualizing success, or is she actually onto something most of us are too scared to admit? Let's find out. Welcome to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm your host, Charu, and today we're talking with a former high achieving healthcare leader turned multi seven figure mindset trainer and strategist, Lin Yuan Su. Lin, it's so nice to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Charu. That was a fantastic introduction.
Yeah, yes. Thank you for coming on the show. Yes. So, Lynn, you call it the success trifecta: mindset, strategies, actions, transformation. Most people reverse that order. They want the strategy first. Why are they wrong?
It's not. First of all, when I look at how we live our life, I love to take the right and wrong out of it. Why that matters? Because the right and wrong is coming from judgment. There's
Hmm.
truly no right, no wrong, and there are some highly successful people out there. They will say, "I went strategy first, and nothing wrong with that." So it's really after all of those years, our mind is so brilliant.
Hmm.
Sometimes we consciously do mindset work. That is the work I mean. And if some people they do it unconsciously. They just go ahead and they already have a very powerful mind. Um so yeah, that is absolutely after years of studying success principles, studying successful people, and implementing this system, this trifecta in my own life, and supporting my clients, creating whatever success they want, and using the very same formula. And so that's when I realized it is absolutely true. Depending on which research you're reading, is anywhere between 80 to 95% of our success is coming from mindset. Even just to have that awareness, I believe is so powerful.
Okay, let me dig deeper into that through an example, okay? See, maybe you're saying if someone just copies your exact business strategy tomorrow, but still carries the employee mindset, they'll probably burn out again, right? Even with a better plan.
Well, but absolutely that could be a possibility. I did that.
Uh-huh.
When I first started my entrepreneurial journey, it was not to build a coaching business. It was a different endeavor, and I copied the people who are very successful in that world, and I copied their strategy. I did exactly what they did, and I was pushing myself to do exactly what they did and do more of it. Did I have the success they had? No, and I burned out. I was like, this is not the way to go. So you're absolutely right.
Yes, coming from practical experience, I feel like. And that actually frames the whole conversation. It shifts success from what do I do or to who am I being while I do it, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
yes,
Yeah.
and speaking of those identity shifts, let's go back to the moment your identity cracked open. Can you please walk us through that morning in the car? What was the exact thought that made you finally say, I'm done? And I'm also curious, were you terrified or was there actually a sign of relief?
That morning was not something just happened. It was 8 years leading into that very moment. I mean, I spent 6 years. I have a one undergrad degree in nutrition and a master degree in nutrition. I loved what I studied. I loved because I love food. Like, give me some good food, I'm all set. And I have always been curious about medicine, about human body. So to become a registered dietitian was so a perfect combination at the time for me logically to think about. Yeah, I love food and it combines medicine. It's perfect. And I loved my entire academic journey. But when I started working, that is when the shift start to happen because I start to realize, well, I'm not fulfilled.
Mm.
I wanted to do more. I wanted to make a bigger impact. I was not doing that as a registered dietitian. Not that dietitians are not important roles in healthcare. It's just not for me. And and a big and I did not have the courage to change because
Mm.
of the society. Well, the society is changing. It's actually a very competitive process to become a dietitian, at least in Canada. I don't know else anywhere else, but I was hard work. So it's a common thinking, what I call common hour thinking is saying, you worked so hard to achieve this. How dare you change? You stay in this profession for the rest of your life. End of the story. And I did. And the only way you would change, I told myself, or society. So I thought society told me is the only way you would change is if you do a more education, like you do a PhD or you do medical school, that's logical. That sounds so great as well.
Mm.
I did not honor the part of me that was not fulfilled. I did not, um, because of fear. And if you hear the thing, fear was running my life. I didn't even know that because I didn't think fear was a thing for me because I was so brave. I did achieve this thing that was hard to achieve. And I did it. What else is there for me to? There's nothing for me to be afraid of. This is the part of our subconscious. That's why I say mindset first. Mindset is not just referring to what is our consciousness, is the most is in our subconscious. We do not even know. We all have fear. Fear is part of human DNA. So how fear shows up for every single person is different. When they showed up for me in the way that I didn't even realize until it got, I was so burned out and I didn't even know it.
Mm.
It's only years later when I reflect back, I realized, wow, I was not nice to my husband, to my son. I was very short tempered. I'm not, very, very easy to get tired, didn't feel motivated to do anything else outside of work. And all of those signs or symptoms, now I realize they are signs and symptoms of burnout, but I did not know because the part of me that was running show was I got to do more, work harder, achieve more. This very much of a push energy. It was not fun. It was not fun at all. And so leading into that morning, I burst into tears. I feel something snapped in me
Mm.
for in a good way. It's almost like I was suppressing my truth, what my heart is saying for so long. Yet this force just keeps bubbling up. It's like a volcano. You cannot suppress a volcano. Lava is coming out. So I feel that it was the moment for me, going through it was hard, and I feel it was such a blessing because
Mm.
without the moment, without my life going so low, I probably would still stay in healthcare working for somebody else. Um, yeah, I couldn't even imagine that life. And so yeah, it was what they say a blessing in disguise. So yeah, was it when I made the decision to change, it was not scary anymore. It was very scary before to think about changing. Yet when I made that decision, when I told myself something got to change, enough is enough, that is when nothing is scary anymore. To make that decision before that was scary though.
Yes, yes. And I feel like as humans, we don't realize that we're suppressing our feelings or emotions till the point we start bursting. And then we realize, oh, maybe I was not opening up. Maybe I was not honest with myself. And I feel like this is the right moment to ask a question for our listeners, which is a lot of listeners right now are in that same car crying, but they have mortgages, kids in school, aging parents. What do you say to the person who feels they can't afford to listen to their inner voice?
I would say you cannot afford to not listen
Yeah.
because one way or another is going to consume you. one way or another, it's going to show up in whatever. It might end up in some sort of disease. Like if you spell out the English word dis-ease, is dis-ease, is a dis in your mind and it manifests in your health. um somebody, I ran into somebody not long ago, a former coworker. So when I was crying in the car, she was one of my coworkers. She since has retired, I believe, and she was just catching me up on some people. I've left that work for almost eight years, and she was telling me one of the physicians I used to work together with had suffered a heart attack. Young man. Not probably the oldest, probably in his 50s. And that is, we look at that, so like, oh, he didn't take care of himself. Well, it's such a incredible component is about the stress. It's about the factor of how fulfilled are you. By all means, I'm not saying if you're just like me crying in your car because you hate your job or whatever, I'm not saying charge to your CEO's office and just quit. That's not the strategy we're going for. But the first strategy, trust me, I stayed in that job after I cried in my car for months. And I left that job on such a high note. I had a very what I call elegant ending with that with that organization, with the team, with the CEO, not because anything changed, because my mindset changed.
Mm,
I went from I hate this job, I want to burn the building off to all right, I got help. I became honest with myself. I made a decision to change. And
mm,
one of the coaches told me, guided me to say, what can you say you're grateful for this place?
mm,
And that changed my energy. So I'm not going to work feeling like I just want to punch a hole in the wall. I went to work with a much calm and peaceful mind. So I can still do my work. Doesn't matter, doesn't mean I enjoy the work, yet I can make a transition that is much more elegant and peaceful. So and the first start is it's fear running the show when we are
mm,
afraid of, oh, I don't like my job. The only option is to quit it. Is it? No, actually. Out of the infinite possibility in the universe, quitting is one way.
yes.
Getting fired is another possibility. In between, there are so much more. So, but we can only discover what those opportunities are if we are willing to calm down,
Mm,
take a breath and be real with ourselves. Just
mm,
between you and yourself, just simply admit, you know what? I don't enjoy this job, or I'm not fulfilled. I'm not enjoy this path that I'm on. What can I do? Can I do something? If you do anything, start listening to Charles' podcast. Grow your own mindset. There are so much beautiful, beautiful wisdom out there for free.
mm,
Different media outlets, your social media, whatever. Start something, read a book, grow yourself. Then you can calmly make a decision to say, what trajectory do I really love? Instead of fear. I'm so fearful. Fear is driving the show. That's not fear is part of us. Let's not try to kill you or anything because it's part of you. Just do not let it drive your show, drive your life.
mm,
Allow love. If anything, it's a calm confidence to drive your life. And then you will realize, you know what? I can actually apply. I can actually apply for a different job, or I can go to a different organization to do this job that I actually enjoy doing. Or I can start my side hustle as a business now and gradually build it to the point where I can transition out from my full time, whatever. The possibility is limitless, but
mm.
you got to take care of your mindset first.
Yes, yes. I feel like that's such a practical takeaway, especially for people who want to take a leap but are anchored by their adult life. And it's not that difficult when said, I totally agree. It's easier said than done. But I feel like you're not saying to just make a life changing decision at that moment. You're just asking them to accept, to realize that maybe I'm not being honest with myself. When you realize that, it's like the first foundation of a process that you will be able to start maybe a little easier than you did before you were being honest with yourself. So, the very first step, I feel like being honest with yourself and realizing that, yes, maybe I am not expressing myself and start doing stuff for it. And it's always a trial and error. I feel like you are the best person that can give the best answers to yourself because it's your problem, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Your channel's name, Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. Yeah, what is part of healthy mind is to be honest with yourself.
Mm.
It's not to shame, it's not to judge yourself. For God's sake, if you love anything, love yourself first.
Course, yeah,
That-
true.
and then I believe we say there are people easy to love, our family, our children, our things, our parents, and all of that love. I believe the true form of that healthy expression of love start with you, between you and yourself. It's not about being selfish. It's selfish just when your ego kicks in. It's coming from your soul. So when you truly respect and love yourself in that beautiful way and be honest and transparent with yourself to say, I'm just gonna take a moment to look at what is really going on in my life. Maybe it is not your career. Maybe it is your relationship. Maybe you have been longing to change in your marriage, or whatever it is, or your health. You really want to work out on a regular basis, but you're not. Whatever it is, you got to be honest with yourself. So I love that take.
Yes, yes, true. I feel like you cannot give your best output if you're not being your best self. So maybe the very first thing is to put yourself first. And this brings me to a tougher angle we need to talk about. Lynn, you help high achievers who already left their jobs. They're not starting from zero. They had skills, networks, savings. Isn't it a bit privileged to say it all starts with mindset? When some people are grinding two jobs and literally can't afford therapy, let alone a mindset coach.
I believe mindset coach is incredibly beneficial for every single person. I also believe mindset coaching or mindset change doesn't necessarily require money, doesn't necessarily require this monetary investment.
Mm.
When you invest with your time, not just money, time, energy as well. Because my client, they pay and they got to show up. It's not like, they fetch over the money and that's all good. No, they got to show up and work. And
Mm.
some that mindset work is the hardest.
Mm.
And as I mentioned, there are books out there. There are, cost a fraction of hiring a coach, free stuff out there. I have tons of free resources on my website. I know a lot of my colleagues and a lot of incredible mindset teachers
Mm.
out there. They have lots of free stuff, but it requires for you to invest your time and your energy because you got
Yes.
to study. You got to sit in front of a computer or a book to read. I always have books, I'm gonna, is that okay if I show a couple books? They're not
Yes,
live.
of course.
There. So those couple books, they are just examples of things I study. I study with my clients as well. Um, do something. The late Bob Proctor, he's Canadian and he
Mm.
passed away in 2022. When he was 26 years old, he was so broke and so sick, like physically sick all the time, being 26. And he owed other people a lot of money, very financially, in a devastating situation. He was 26. He picked up a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill for the very first time. It was that book. I don't know. I think it's $2.50, something like that. Way back then. He passed away when he was 67. So he has been holding the same book for 61 years. Every single day, he would flip a couple pages, sometimes even just one sentence, one paragraph. But he studied that book amongst many other transformational books. That is a fraction, costs you fraction, but takes dedication. So whatever it comes with a decision of, you know what, I have more in me. I know I can do more. It doesn't matter it has nothing to do with your upbringing, how rich your or poor your family is, where kind of neighborhood you're living right now. None of those conditions, environment matters because the truth is within you. If you want to change, you can be the change. How many stories we've heard, people from the poorest of the poorest communities or whatever, and they made an incredible living out for themselves. Why? Because it's all here. That is the
Mhm.
power source. It's not anywhere else.
Yes, I love how honest you are because, yes, mindset conversations do require investment, but it is not always about money. It's more about your time and interest, given the amount of resources we get in the internet. So I love that. That's second practical takeaway for our listeners, I feel like. And which also brings me to our next question, which is okay, when mindset does shift, everything else follows, right? But let's talk about proof too. You say once the mind expands, strategies and results follow. Can you please give us one example from a client where the only thing that changed at first was the mindset, and money or time, freedom, actually showed up afterward almost surprisingly?
Yes, that's called manifestation, right? I'll give you two examples. One is my own, and I'm going to start with one of my clients. Her name is Julia. Her and I started working together when she was working like 12, 13 hours every single day in her restaurant business, and she just started that business. Business was not doing well. She was losing money, and she was in this fearful mindset. She got locked in that fearful mindset because she feel like I don't know what else I can do to make this work. I'm already working 12, 13 hours nonstop, Monday to Sunday. And I already poured my own personal savings into this business. It's still losing. I'm at a in that moment, she felt like there's no other option. It's not because there's no other option, no other strategies. It's because her mindset in that moment was locked by
Mm,
fear.
yeah.
And there's still part of her was open. So that's when her and I started talking, and she made a decision first. She made a decision to invest in herself.
Mm,
But her blocks was like, well, I cannot do this. I got no money because all the money went to the restaurant, and I have no time. I work 12-hour days. And but she still made a decision because she always says that decision is my own. It's up
mm,
to make that decision, whether it's a yes or no. She made a yes decision. We started working together. Uh, Fast forward 13 months later, and she really took this work. She made a decision. Sometimes she would even sit in her car to join my coaching calls, but she did the work. She made it a priority
mm,
because she wanted it to change. 13 months later, her revenue increased 400%. And she reduced her work hour to a third of where she used to work, how much she used to work. And she lost the
mm,
35 pounds because she started to treat herself with love and kindness. You start to eat healthier and start to exercise. Like that's a success. That's a
mm,
classical example of the kind of success I talk about.
mm,
What I support my clients is never about let's sacrifice your time or your house for more money. Heck no, it's yes, yes. Every single aspect of your life
mm,
is successful. That's what I call enlightened success. It's a full spectrum. Second example, very quick of myself, is not necessarily business, but is the same principle. Is my husband and I, we have two children. After our first one, he got conceived so easily, and after a couple years, I was like, oh, maybe we can go for a second one. 3 years later, couldn't get pregnant, and for doctors cannot figure out what is wrong. And then I attended my coach retreat. So I was sitting there, deep dive training on mindset, and I through that process I discovered my own mindset block, which is my own inner child. That little girl that's within me, grew up in China and went through whatever she went through. I never acknowledged her. And
mm,
because of that, there was a energetic blocks. And
mm,
literally when I realized that, a week later, I got pregnant naturally. So that is
Mm.
this, whether you're talking about dollars, money, you're talking about time freedom, love of your life, whatever, is the same manifestation process. It's a universal law.
Mm-hmm. Sure, sure. I feel like that's very practical right there. Like deep proof if anyone needs that. And but still, for the skeptic listeners who are still not satisfied, I guess, how do they know they're not just deluding themselves with positive thinking while their bank account stays empty?
It takes time. It takes time. It's not it's something the society today is very common is instant gratification, right?
Yeah,
Instant
yeah.
gratification. If I start doing this, if I listen to this podcast, better be a millionaire tomorrow. Mm, Actually, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Any success requires a journey.
Mm,
And nobody knows how long this journey is going to be. Maybe it is going to be 3 months. Maybe it's going to be 30 years. Are you willing to serve whatever that vision you want to serve? That's why if you just want money, it's going to be a tough road.
mm,
But
yeah.
you got to want wealth for to do something, whether it's to help your family, help the world, whatever, or to whatever that you that's your passion. Your
Mm,
passion is for whatever this benefit that's for other people, for yourself and other people. And that is when have the determination to say no matter what, the road to success is a difficult one. It
mm,
can't get easier, but it's a difficult one to start with because you never done that before. A lot of people give up before they even start. A lot of people
mm,
give up on their role because it gets hard. It is going to get hard. Challenges are not there to stop you. They're there to grow you. Are you willing to grow or you want to retreat back? That's all your choice. So I'm not, I was a skeptic.
mm,
Start
mm,
like, what are you talking about? I need scientific evidence. That's because I'm very, very science trained. Then I realized, yeah, this is very much of a science as well because everything is energy. According to the highest level of science we have today, which is quantum physics. What is quantum physics study? Energy.
mm,
Everything is energy. So it's to fully understand it, is to fully incorporate it within your own life. That
mm,
journey is the hardest. But if you're willing to do that and you show up, you do that. I promise you, your life is going to be continuously. The reason I do this motion is upward spiral of becoming. Your life result is going to become better and better and better and better.
mm,
So,
mm,
and to stick with this process is the hardest anybody can
mm,
do.
mm. Yes, yes. And I feel like that's what mindset is about. For our skeptic listeners, I feel like they must understand that mindset isn't just, I want to do this. It's not just this specific thought. It's more about the combination of trust in ourselves, patience, and to keep going, to feel motivated, to let ourselves feel motivated when we're not feeling motivated enough. So that's what mindset is. I think the first step is understanding what exactly mindset is. And then if you're still not thinking that mindset is in the way, for that listeners, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not the way you talk about mindset, the way I talk about mindset. Not everybody will resonate with it. That's okay. But if you still feel anybody, if you're a listener, here's the thing: if they listen to your podcast, part of them resonate with the power of mindset. That's the truth. Otherwise, they
Mhm.
will never even click to any of your episodes, right? That's the
Yeah.
truth. If they look at healthy mind, healthy life, what is this? And they click. Part of them is resonating with the power of
Mm,
mind. It's okay if they don't resonate with how we talk about. Find yourself somebody you do resonate.
yeah, true, true.
That's the key. Find somebody or something, a book, whatever, however way you want to study.
Yes, yes. And Lynn, you're a mom, wife, daughter. A lot of women feel that way when they all go in on business. Family suffers, right? Or they carry guilt. How do you personally keep the trifecta working when life pulls you in 10 different actions?
The success trifecta is not just for business; it's for life. Uh,
Mhm.
it, it, I prioritize my family first.
Mm.
When my daughter was born, and this is a universal truth, when you're really coming, the practice of coming from love, and when you truly trust this process, you are going to have an incredible life. And part of it is this wonderful abundance, whether it's money, whether it's time, whether it's business. When my daughter was born, I was working maybe on average 10 hours a week, if that, for the first 6 months. And that year, I my business went through 500,000.
Mhm.
It's just that's easy. It was not easy before because I was growing. Yet, if you're willing to trust the process, I block time to pick up my kids. During those times, I do not have conversations. I do not talk with any of my clients or anything, do anything business related. I block time that I for myself. When I don't think business, when I don't think of my kids, I just do something for me. Again, is when we think about, oh, a woman, especially being a mom, being a wife, being all of this, being pulled different directions. That is a mindset. That is a belief. But if we can change that, what if I can do all of it with ease?
Yeah.
Well, it does take, then we can implement strategy as, having support and delegating, and that is strategy second. But you got to start here. Guilty. Where is guilty coming from? Between your 2 years. It's an option. I'm not saying it's easy. It's a simple concept, but I'm not saying it's easy. I'm still practicing it on a daily basis. And with practice, you become better and better at it. It becomes easier and easier for you to say, you know what? Off goes my kids, and we're all good. I'm taking care of my business now.
Yes, yes. I feel like that's very insightful for women who are torn between ambition and responsibility. What I also believe is, I feel like ambition, in a way, is a responsibility that we give to ourselves. So I feel like even if you are an ambitious woman who has a family to take care of, in a way, your ambition and family at some point, or maybe most of the points, are alike. They both require the same foundation of resilience, maybe perseverance, but it's just you trusting in yourself and trying to finding the balance between them, I feel like. Right?
Yes, instead of using the word balance, I love the word harmony because balance. Here's the thing: I demonstrated this to a client in Germany yesterday. So this is balance. Hard chi is very rigid. I cannot move. That's balance. Whereas
Mm.
harmony is a flow. It's
Mhm.
life flowing. There are days I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm serving my clients. And there are days I'm focusing on my family. It's this beautiful dance. And when we
Yeah.
enjoy this beautiful dance, that's when we enjoy.
Yes,
Ambition,
yes.
ambition can come from fear or your human ego, or ambition can come from love. My invitation for every single person is make sure your ambition is coming from heart, your soul.
Mm.
That's when you discover, wow, life is awesome.
Yes, yes. I love that harmony. More flexible, more versatile, I feel like.
Yes.
Well, Lynn, it was a wonderful conversation with you. But before we wrap our episode, for our listeners who would love to connect with you, can you please tell them the ways to do so?
Yes. You can find me. My name is quite unique. You can find me on
Yeah.
the major social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. What is the other one? TikTok. And I would love to share with your listener a free gift. It's called a Success Oath. It's something like an affirmation, but much more powerful. So I would love to share that resource with your listeners. I'll share the link with you, Tara. Thank you so much
Sure,
for having
sure,
me.
sure, for sure. So, for our listeners, as you've already heard her, it's really easy to get to connect with her, but still, we will leave all the social media links in the show notes. So, I request all our listeners to go and check that too. Well, Lynn, it was a wonderful conversation with you, as I said. Uh,
And Charu, thank you so much for having me. You are an incredible, incredible young woman. It's such a pleasure to get to meet you and serve your listeners.
yes, yes, me too. It was very nice having you on the show. Thank you. Here's what I'm taking away today. Maybe the scariest moment isn't when everything falls apart. Maybe it's when everything looks perfect and you realize you're allowed to want something else. Lin Yuan Su didn't have a plan that morning in the car. She just had a no that was louder than all the yeses society gave her. And somehow that was enough to start. To everyone listening, if you are in that car right now, crying or not, know this. You don't need the full roadmap today. Sometimes you just need permission to admit that life you have isn't the life you want. The rest can follow. Thank you, Lynn, for being so honest. And listeners, if this hit, share it with someone who needs to hear they're not crazy for wanting more. This was Healthy Mind, Healthy Life with your host, Charu. Take care of your mind so the right life can find you.